Hi everyone, our group did expandable cranial bone plates for infants. I'm Maddie.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Carla. 10% of infants under 2 years old present with cases of skull fractures. Our device aims to help repair these defects or deformities, and we're doing that by figuring out a material with similar mechanical properties to cortical bone. Right now, devices on the market are usually made of polymers or metals, which are not biodegradable and eventually need a second surgery for removal. And while they're in place, they restrict the growth of the skull. Here you can see the normal growth of the bone plates in an infant's head. The sutures are made of soft bone, and that's why we needed to come up with a material that resembles those properties and that would be expandable.
So our group decided to select a biodegradable polymer blend for our bone plate, and this blend will be composed of 75% L-lactide, 20% polyglycolide, and 5% trimethylene carbonate. These polymers are commonly used in biomedical applications and have mechanical properties very similar to living bone. The Indian CPS implants use this blend for pediatric facial reconstruction, proving that this material is functional for a cranial application. The design of our plate is going to be expandable to avoid restricting the growth of the child's skull. The plate will also be biodegradable to avoid the need for a second operation to remove the plate. And lastly, the plate will be anchored into place by screws coated in hydroxyapatite to promote further bone growth. So this is a diagram of our design. On the left, you can see the skull with a linear fracture across two different bone plates. And on the right, you can see our design stabilizing that fracture. As you can see, there are two rectangular pieces, which are our plates that are made from the biodegradable polymer blend that I mentioned before. And then in each corner, there is a screw made of the same material coated in hydroxyapatite that will further anchor these plates into the skull. And the rods in the middle will be running through pre-drilled channels within each of these bone plates, and they will also be made of the same polymer blend. And as the skull expands, as the child's brain grows, these rods will elongate to allow for the expansion of the skull.
So some benefits and costs. So in general, polymers are cheaper than metals, which the devices are made out of currently. And because they can be 3D printed, they're customizable for each patient. And then we found a statistic that said without hydroxyapatite, the bone regrows with a 65% reduction in strength. So by having the hydroxyapatite, our bone will regrow much stronger. And then also, even though our material is slightly weaker than the titanium currently used, this will decrease the possibility for stress shielding, and our material does not allow for cytotoxic byproducts. As for the cost of our material, that will depend on the size of the patient's fracture because it is customizable. And because we're using 4 different polymers, the different unit prices might increase the cost of the device. And then because our device is already on the market in other applications, we'll be able to use the 510(k) process to save more money and time. And then as you can see, here are some unit prices of the polymer blend that we're using, and they range from $40 to $100 a gram.
So we identified 3 main competitors that are also making bone plates for the skull. The first two, Stryker and Renishaw, both use 3D printing to make patient-specific implants. The difference is that Stryker came out with PEEK, which is a polymer implant, and then Renishaw came out with one that uses high-strength titanium. And then there's also Diffuse Synthes, a J&J company that makes a low-profile implant called Matrix Neuro. And while these devices are good and currently on the market, we believe that ours will be better because ours will be biodegradable, so it won't require a second surgery. It will have an expansion option, which promotes growth of the child's head and development. We'll also be 3D printing, so we will be making our device patient-specific. And then using a polymer will also eliminate the fact of stress shielding, which is typically found in metals, and then we'll also be coating our screws in hydroxyapatite to promote our bone growth.
Thank you.